So after that, I went and saw what everybody probably is going to go see this weekend: Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire. I had to fucking look up the title of the subtitle of this movie because I'm like, between this and Frozen, Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire, it's like it's kind of confusing. Like they're two very generic titles, subtitles, and I'm like, yeah, and to what look like two very generic movies, but I'm like, and if you didn't see my review, I didn't care for Ghostbusters: The Lost or the Frozen Empire. What the fuck is it to do? Oh, the Frozen Empire. I didn't care for it very much. So Godzilla Kong. So I think I've said this before in my reviews that I'm a big Godzilla fan. I'm a big Godzilla mark. I've been a fan of Godzilla since I was little. King Kong, yeah, pretty much. Like King Kong, I like too, but like I've always had a bigger soft spot in my heart for Godzilla. Like Godzilla, the charm to Godzilla. There's so much charm to Godzilla in the original old Godzilla movies, and as far as the American movies go, the recent American Godzilla movies go, I thought they were okay. They're just mediocre at best. Honestly, the one I liked the most, ironically, was the one that a lot of people don't like, which is the Godzilla King of all monsters, King of the Monsters. I like that one the best. I like Kong Skull Island too, and but I seem to also be in a minority in that I didn't really care that much for Godzilla versus Kong. I remember seeing that was like the first movie I saw in a theater, like once like theaters started opening back up. I remember like my theater was still closed, but there was a theater like 20 minutes away, 40 minutes away that was playing Godzilla vs. Kong on a big ass screen. So I was like, oh yeah, I gotta see this. I was not gonna go watch it on HBO Max. And I was kind of underwhelmed by it. I remember just like, I remember loving the final battle between Godzilla and Kong because it was fucking awesome. That was fucking awesome and worth the price of admission right there. But you had to sit for the rest of the fucking movie. That was the main problem with it. Especially mainly the Cuban characters were driving me up the wall, were fucking unmemorable, not funny, not great. And it was just like I couldn't give a shit about any of them. I was like, just get going with the fucking monsters fighting. That's all I want to fucking see. I don't give a shit about the human characters. But what made it even worse was when I didn't review Godzilla at -1 when it came out, but I fucking adored the Godzilla -1. I loved the Godzilla -1. If I would have made a top 10 list, it would probably be my top three. Probably like easily like one of my favorite movies of the year last year. I fucking loved Godzilla -1. It was so good. It's so fucking good. And it was like you watch that and you go, God damn, does that put the American Godzilla movies to shame? It does. Like it did everything that the American Godzilla movies don't do right. And it's like you had actually interesting human characters. You had a really fucking terrifying Godzilla, which I did like. There's one thing liked about the American Godzilla movies is the portrayal of Godzilla has been fucking awesome in those movies. I do love it, but this version was way fucking better. They actually have three-dimensional characters. They actually gave a shit about, so you weren't bored whenever Godzilla wasn't off screen. They actually gave a shit about the human characters, unlike the American movies. So I'm like, that is a detriment to these movies. Like, especially seeing a new American Godzilla King Kong movie, I'm I'm thinking to myself, well, when this movie's coming out, like, yeah, it might not be bad, but I'm gonna be like, it's still not as good as fucking Godzilla -1. And that was kind of right. I'll say this: I didn't hate this movie, Godzilla X Kong. Um, honestly, I have to go back and watch Godzilla versus Kong, which I really don't want to. But there are parts of this movie I actually like better than the Godzilla versus Kong. But this movie still has a lot of the same fucking problems as Godzilla versus Kong. There's also it's some parts of the this movie are not as good as the parts of that movie. So it's like I'll get to that in a second. So I give a lot of praise to this movie. I actually think like I will say like I as far as the human characters go, I will say Rebecca Hall and that little girl that's the mute, deaf and mute or whatever. She is their relationship is really good and really carries the movie. I will say that 100%. As far as the human characters go, they are the most interesting characters. They are the main focus, so that doesn't hurt this movie. I really did like a lot of the monster scenes in this movie, like when they're just showing Godzilla and Kong doing their thing throughout this movie. Like King Kong, like at the beginning, like fighting these monsters and ripping them fucking apart in half and shit like that. That was fucking awesome. I'm like, this is what I want out of it. Like, I could see it, watch a whole movie. You could watch a whole movie of Godzilla and Kong just doing their shit, and it would be so fucking great. You don't really need human characters. No one gives a shit about the human characters. Like, I know that, but you don't have to have, like, you can make a whole movie, Hollywood. Goddamn, people will watch it. And like, and like Godzilla had the portrayal of Godzilla in this movie made me fucking laugh. It made me even love Godzilla even more when so at the beginning of this movie they have like him fighting a monster in Italy and it's really fucking cool, really well done. It's just Godzilla like he just like fucking breathes fire and just burst into fucking pieces. It's fucking awesome. So right after that, what does Godzilla do? He does something I've never seen a Godzilla do in any of these movies. He just goes down to take a nap. I'm not making that up. Godzilla goes to take a nap. He literally goes to the Roman Coliseum and just curls up in a ball and goes to sleep. I was like, Godzilla is my goddamn spirit monster, man. Like this, like there's no wonder why Godzilla's always been my favorite. That was easily one of my favorites. Like it's gotta be hard for to be Godzilla, goddammit. Like, dude, the guy's gotta fucking save the world all the time from all these fucking monsters. It's gotta be exhausting. And he's fucking tired. But, like, I laughed my ass off at that. There's the callback at the very end of the movie, too. I fucking died. And, like, that's hilarious. Like, it makes sense. It makes sense to me. You know, like, I was like, I thought that was fucking hilarious. Um, and then, where I will say the movie doesn't, like I said, the monsters, the Godzilla and Kong monster stuff in the middle of this movie are really good. I liked when good Kong. One of my favorite fights with Kong was when you've seen the trailers that mini Kong, the little ape that you obviously could tell is going to probably be a sidekick in the film. But like the movie decides to throw you for a loop for a second because the thing basically fights Kong alongside of like an army of apes, other apes, and at one fucking point, God Kong takes this little miniature fucking ape, throws him at them, like, throws him like a fucking dart, and like these other Kongs fucking dying. Like he's like beating the shit out of this little monster, this little Kong. I was dying, man.